Oh, there we go.
Perfect. So how have you been in the 2 minutes since we spoke?
Yeah, all right, yeah. Just you know, chilled here. Move Stitch from
Yeah, I saw you've
on
got
top of the
Stitch in the background.
drums to like the little drum stool. He was sitting on top of the drums for a while.
So for the people listening to this the day after it's recorded, we are once again live streaming this, and it's been a week since we recorded an episode.
Yeah, we
Wait,
we
people are saying they
like it
can't
was
hear
like
me.
2 weeks ago that the last episode came out. Yeah.
People are saying they can't hear me because I forgot to turn my Yeti down. So it's off to a rollicking good start.
Oh
There we
god.
go. So I accidentally turned my own audio off while doing this. But yeah, we are once again, we're live on Twitch, both of us, yes.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah, the folks in my Twitch chat, if they put in exclamation point Lucas, they can go find Lucas's stream and find him. And if you're wondering, why would I find Lucas's stream when I can see it right now? The answer is that at the end of the podcast, as we did the last time we did this, we are going to be doing Q&A.
Yep.
We can't hear you because that bow is so loud. How can they not hear me? I'm seeing that I have audio.
Oh dear.
I can hear now. Oh, either way, people say that. We can hear it fine now. Fair enough. You will be able to. We do Q&A at the end, and obviously Lucas will pick some questions. I'll pick some questions. That's one of the reasons that you might want to do that.
Yes.
Lucas, how have you been? It's been like what, 2 weeks since we recorded one of these.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah, and been good, but I've been like working a lot this week so far because I'm taking like Friday and Monday off for like a long weekend with Jenna just to play
Right.
Destiny.
Yeah, not for Valentine's Day, is it?
No, it's not. We didn't even realize it was Valentine's Day weekend. It was just like the new Destiny season's out. Let's take some time off. So
And then
yeah,
wasn't he like her manager's like, oh, that's adorable. You're taking the entire weekend off for Valentine's Day. She's like, what?
yeah. What? Wait,
Destiny comes out.
it's like that did not come into the equation at all. But yeah, it's I guess convenient. But we also don't celebrate it, so fuck it. It doesn't matter.
And that's the thing. Like, before anyone like thinks is Lucas one of those guys like, oh, I don't celebrate Valentine's Day, just as an excuse not to buy his girlfriend something. Like, no, you and Jenna, you do embody that idea of I don't need a day to say that I care about you. I do that every day. You do some adorable stuff for Jenna, and
Yeah,
vice
and
versa.
she does some adorable stuff for me as well. Like it's not
Yeah.
a one-sided thing. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, like it is very much a fuck off. Don't make everything twice the price and tell me I need to buy cards and flowers once a year. It's like nah, not that.
Yeah, I had
Like,
something similar because the reason we didn't have last week's podcast and would have been episode 65.
yeah, we're on 65 now.
It's episode
Yeah.
65 now, but it would have been last week's because it was my birthday. And it was my birthday the day before we normally record the podcast. I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I turned 30 years old, so I'm drinking coffee now instead of beers on this podcast.
Yeah. I've got one more year left. One more
Yeah,
year.
you'll catch me up soon, mate. You'll catch me up soon. And I got a message from my older brother that just went, I got you a card, but then forgot to send it because I didn't want to buy a stamp. Lol. So he just sent me a photo of the card. And I went, I'd prefer that from now on. I prefer just for birthdays ongoing. Go to the shop and take a picture of a card you think I'd like and just send me that on my birthday.
It's like when you go on to something like Moonpig where you make the card, just
Yeah.
design it and then just take a picture of your screen and just be like, yeah, there you go.
I did get a Moonpig card off a mate, and he's like, oh, there's not enough photos of me and you together because all of them are really bad and from nights out. So they're all too blurry to fit on the card.
Oh god, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I couldn't. I was just looking. I was like, "This is a really, really poor quality card." It's like, yeah, there's poor quality photos of us. They're the only ones.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, you can't trust the drunken photographer, can you?
You can't. No, I ever told the story. I had one of those friends who at uni who took a photo. I didn't take a photo. Sorry, I took hundreds of photos on every night out.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But didn't just take hundreds of photos. Tagged everyone in those photos.
Oh god.
The next day you'd wake up and you go on Facebook and you've got like 80 different notifications and it's her tagging you in hundreds and hundreds of photos.
Yep.
But the thing is, it doesn't matter how little of you is in that photo, you will get tagged in it. And I remember it got to the point where a friend of mine was sat and his hand was in the photo. He had his hand on his knees.
Yeah.
And that photo came and she tagged him in it and he made that his profile photo. Because he was like,
great.
why did I get tagged in this? It was so rough.
Oh god, and there's always that one person who, like, at any night out or house party or whatever, just pulls out the camera and you're like, oh no.
I don't mind it because I like in the years past, it's been nice to have lots of photos.
But what I mean is the difference between someone that just uses a phone camera and when someone pulls out an actual camera.
Oh yeah.
And like that they're living to spend the entire night just taking photos instead of having fun. Is like just taking a couple of selfies while you're dancing or whatever on your phone. It's like no, they have one job.
Yeah, and it's like when people go to concerts.
Yeah.
And just have their phone out the entire fucking time, which leads to that legendary image out there of that person recording a concert on 3 iPhones at once, all in like portrait mode. It's like, you're not even going to remember this.
I remember once someone put an iPad in front of me, and this was just at like an O2 Academy gig, and I'd gone out to a bar beforehand, and I was like pretty drunk. I was so pissed off that within about 30 seconds, I pulled my phone out and started recording their iPad right in front of them. And then they were like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, oh, you clearly got the concert right there. It was like, oh, okay. And just put their iPad away. I was like, an iPad of all things, it gets in the way of your total fucking view.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of like when you look at footage of old concerts, people pull the lighters out. It's like, oh, that was pretty cool. And then you just see like now it's like a sea of iPhones. It's like, God damn.
Yeah, it looks really shit.
Oh man, but I think it can work at some concerts. Like I think I went to see Enter Shikari once, and everyone put the SOS signal on their phone. Remember you could do that? So their phone's just flashing the SOS signal, and you got a crowd of 400 people doing that with glow sticks. That can look pretty good.
And there's that. I think it was even like put in an advert or something for a camera. But the one that I always remember is like the shot of the Robbie Williams concert, where he gets everyone to put flash on the camera and take a photo at the same time. So that looks pretty cool.
And then you have the wrestler. I think it's not Bray Wyatt. I forget the name of him now, but like someone in chat will tell me the name of the wrestler who has like his fireflies, where his gimmick is when he used to come out, so it can come pitch black.
Yeah.
But people would turn their lights on their camera, and he liked the way it looked, and he incorporated it into part of his entrance.
Oh, okay, cool.
And would just say, "They're my fireflies." So he'd come into a complete pitch black, and you'd see all these lights in the crowd.
Yeah.
And it looked pretty cool.
That is a good idea.
Speaking of ads, I think the worst phone ad for me, Bray Wyatt. Well, I was correct.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I knew it, but I didn't know it.
I know the name, but I wasn't sure whether I'm thinking of the right person or not.
Like, this is why it's good when we've got chat, because they can correct us in real time, so we don't get messages about the podcast after the fact. But
that's true.
There's a phone advert that it makes me so mad. And it's one of those phone adverts that's telling people not to use their phone. Do you know one of those ones?
Yeah.
The smarmy ones of, when you spend all your time looking at your phone, you miss the real story. And it shows you people on their phone, like, just like walking into lampposts and stuff like that. Which is fair enough, but there's one that gets me. It's a guy, as anyone watching this and listening to this has probably done, if you're a guy, going for a piss and pulling the phone out of the pocket.
Yeah.
While they're taking a piss. And the guy does it and he drops it in the urinal. And he looks down at the phone and he looks up at the guy who's like 3 spaces down. The guy goes, really? As he's like, going down to reach for his phone. It's like, yeah, fucking really. It's like my £800 phone with everything I need on it.
Yeah, that's really weird. Like, if I drop my phone in like a toilet,
it's like fair enough. Yeah, it's funny, but
I wouldn't just go, well, I guess I've got to leave it there.
Yeah, and like the way it's framed in the advert is the guy looks at him as he goes to pick it up, just going, really? It's like, yeah, I'm gonna pick up my fucking phone. My bank details are on it, knobhead.
Oh Christ! Like, even if it was bricked, I'd still want to pick it up just for security reasons. Yeah.
But just that thing. Just like the guy looking like, really?
Oh God, it was really funny because I remember there was a time period for a few years where my sister kept putting her phone in like a back pocket of her jeggings, and she'd forget, pull down in the toilet, and just plop, and it's like, well, that's another fucked phone. I was like, yeah. She turned around to me just one day and went, I did it again. That's like the 4th time this year. It's like, why'd you keep putting it in your back pocket then?
Yeah, but one thing I do like about phone advertisements is that they're the last bastion of dunking on people. And do you remember like back in the 90s where you get like Sega and Nintendo actively name dropping each other in adverts, calling
Yeah.
each other pieces of shit?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Well, phone like that doesn't really happen much anymore, does it? Like there's like I guess it's either they've stopped doing it because they want to like elevate or whatever the fuck. Like, so, no, we're above those kind of petty arguments. Phone companies do it all the fucking time, which led to this ad being run by Samsung. In specific regards to, I've got an iPhone. I have
Oh,
an
okay,
iPhone,
yeah.
and we can show off my phone screen here. It's just a fucking possum, but you can see at the top that fucking notch right there, can't you? That
Oh, yeah.
shitty notch
Yeah,
right
yeah.
at the top that has all your camera stuff in it. Apple did this advert, which I can't send to chat.
No,
Like I
no.
said to you, describe it, Lucas.
I still got to do the describing for the audio.
Yeah. What do you see?
Oh. Oh, God. So it's a family all with what is meant to be like straight hairlines.
Yeah.
But they all just have the two notches in their hairline.
Yeah, so they just have the little blocky bit of fringe coming down here. And the ad is he takes a selfie on it. And he looks at the selfie and he's got like the black bar at the top.
Yeah.
And it's a Samsung phone. And you look at it thinking, oh, has he got a notch on it? And then he looks up and he's got that gap on his head. And it's like, oh, God. It's like, when's the last time you remember an ad actively taking a swipe at like a company? Not like in that way of, I don't know, like cleaning products and stuff. It's like, oh, the next biggest brand. Or
yeah.
But they actively name drop their competition and be like, no, fuck you.
I don't even remember because I don't see that many adverts, but
it's only phone ads.
I kind of remember phone wise was not dunking on somebody, but it was kind of a self dunk when it was the Samsungs just after the last ones where they exploded. And the entire advert was just, here is a Samsung safety reel of like, oh, we test all our phones rigorously. And we make sure we drop our phones and temperature test our phones.
Like, not rigorously enough, it would seem.
It's like they really had to sell, hey, like, we have safe phones. Don't think about the time when they all just blew up in your pocket.
Yeah, the best thing about that story was though, like a month after it broke, and they managed to just quiet all the media firestorm. It turns out that Samsung washing machines also caught fire. Because it was just something to do with the batteries. Like the batteries are what caught on fire. And they put those batteries in fucking everything they sold. It was really funny.
Did the fridges light on fire as well?
I think
that would be amusing.
I just remember like the washing machines catching fire because they're like full of water and they caught on fire. It's like, oh, damn it, Samsung. It's like, why would you try and like compete though in that regard when Nokia exists?
In what regard? Like just
like saying our phones are super tough and durable.
Yeah.
Like, why would you ever compete with Nokia? Because like I wrote an article a year or so ago now for Nokia. Not for Nokia, about Nokia for today. I found out about like the levels of stress testing they do for their phones, and they are noted as like the industry leaders. Like they have invented machines that are purpose built to fuck up phones.
Oh, really?
And only they have the rights to use them because it's proprietary.
Oh, okay.
And my favorite one is like this little drawer full of dust and tiny little sharp plastic cones that shakes at like 1,000 RPM.
1,000 RPM
is to simulate a lifetime of a phone being put in and out of your pocket and rattling around next to keys and things like that. So, but all you see is just this brand new, just literally off the manufacturing conveyor belt phone being put into this drawer full of dust and fucking these needle cones and just being shook.
God, and I was like, I was just obviously visual watchers will be able to see me looking. I had a Nokia 3310 in my desk. Like, and I was just checking, but I can't find it. It must be underneath something or whatever, and I can't be asked. But I did see straight away, like, this little bad boy, which is like the iPod Nano. Like, I think it's like Gen 3 or 4 or something.
There is a specific one, that
and
was like.
This was the one just before they put the camera on it, and this thing got hit by a car and still works fine.
Yeah, like it's the Royal Marines.
Yeah, like this thing is tiny and flimsy looking. And it's the most solid product I've ever fucking had.
Yeah, and that's all just like because Apple, weirdly, they used to be known for making very durable products. Not so much anymore.
No, definitely not anymore.
And that was something that I encountered while researching that Nokia article,
Mm-hmm.
where like my favorite test they do is like after they do everything, they do what they like to call the gorilla test,
Oh,
which
okay.
is where they just hand it to an intern and say, break it with your bare hands. They just say, they hand it to an intern and say, if you can break it with your bare hands, you get the day off. To encourage them to do it. And the idea is to just look for any weaknesses that they may not have anticipated or
Right,
damage
yeah.
that may not have been anticipated. Because you can prepare for wear and tear, but you can't prepare for, like, say, your kid getting their hands on it,
Right,
which is
yeah.
what the gorilla test is supposed to test. Like, what happens if, like, a 4-year-old gets their hands on this and starts pulling and prying at things they're not supposed to?
And that was the thing with like Nintendo products as well, wasn't it? Of
Yeah, we've talked about that
just
before.
like we have, yeah. Just make sure they stand actual, just reasonable tests of like dropping it from a phone pocket or whatever. Like,
And then wear and tear that they could reasonably be expected to encounter. My favorite one being that a Nintendo Wii had to be able to support the 60 kilograms for about 30 seconds. And that was because when they were researching it or doing like market research, they went, okay, so where do most people keep their console? On the floor. A lot of kids keep theirs just on the floor.
yeah, true,
And
yeah.
there was like, what happens if on Christmas morning a kid has his Wii on the floor and his mum or dad steps on it?
Yeah.
What's the weight of an average adult in Japan? Because in America it's a bit higher, but in Japan it's like 60
True,
kilos.
yeah.
So it needs to be able to survive a 60 kilo weight, an average adult stepping on it accidentally.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like obviously that we had the vertical stand, but there were plenty of times when I was a bit younger, like when the Wii came out, where I went round to friends' houses and it was just in front of the TV on the floor sideways. Like, and then the Wii is a pretty small console, like it's relatively easy to miss.
It is, yeah. The thinking was, what about Christmas morning? Specifically, just Christmas morning. A lot of kids would just plug it straight in.
That was exactly what I did every time I got a new console at Christmas. Yeah.
And Nintendo predicted that and actively prepared for it. And speaking of consoles on the floor, there was an article that was going around the other day that was kind of funny. And it was a New York Times, like their fashion section,
right,
ran a piece on what do gamers look like.
Okay.
The title is clickbait, but
Yeah.
the thrust of it is like the new influencers, like style influencers and just like influencers of like, culture are now Twitch streamers. So a lot of people.
Yeah.
So we just interviewed some of like, the biggest Twitch streamers right now to just see what they wear, because obviously they're on camera pretty much 90% of the time.
That's fair enough, yeah.
And what they wear becomes fashion. And they talked to, is it Pokimane?
Pokemon.
And here's the fact that everyone's going to be yelling at me about. I know that it's supposed to be Pokemon. Her name's Iman, I think. She's from like Tunisia or something.
Oh, right,
everyone mispronounced it as Pokimane. Anyway, there's like a picture of her just sat next to a setup. And she's getting roasted because she's got really bad cable management.
Oh, right,
find the photo because her cable management is fucking all over the place.
Honestly, it must be bad because of the amount of things that she has there, but I can't really say much about cable management because mine's shocking.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm trying to find the picture. Oh man, it's not gonna be the New York Times article. It's gonna be like behind a fucking paywall.
Yeah.
The whole thing, I'm gonna be able to find the image. I just saw the screenshot going around. Let's have a look. Come on. Oh, we've got someone who's like pre-taken the article, but they've not taken the picture. Oh no, I can't find it. Well, basically, it's just like you see, she's got a console and a setup, and she's got like fucking like 2 towers. She's got like 5 screens. She's got like a microphone. Everything's plugged into fucking everywhere. But the thing she's getting roasted for is like a PlayStation 4 is just on the floor. It's like, why have you got your PS4 on the floor? And it's like, as someone who streams, Lucas, do you know why she has a PS4 on the floor? I
mean, I know I have it on the floor because I have my desk set up all sorted, and then my PlayStation or Xbox or Switch or whatever gets put on the floor next to my my tower, where I'm just like, well, I've got to move this console back and forth between here and my living room all the time.
Yeah. And why do you keep it specifically on the floor, away from your recording equipment? Specifically the PS4.
Well, I mean, yeah, the PS4 is loud as fuck.
It's fucking loud, isn't it?
Yeah, because I remember the amount of times we've been recording, like God of War.
Yeah.
When we recorded it for your channel, and your PS4 is like not even that close to your mic, and you can just hear the
Yeah. Like, the joke I make is every single time I turn my PlayStation 4 on, it sounds like the Shield helicarrier is just in the background of my office.
Yeah, the amount of times on podcasts I've heard the phrase "it sounds like my PS4 is taking off."
Yeah,
Like
it sounds like
every person says it,
yeah,
and it's like, yeah, it's true.
The joke I make every time is it sounds like it's going Super Saiyan 3. Just do you know the one where like Sean Schemmel passed out in the fucking recording booth because he was just like, ah! It's like, yeah, that's what my PS4 sounds like. And I just thought that was kind of neat because I looked at that and I knew instantly why she did it. But then I saw all like the people roasting it. I thought it's like, no, I get it. Like, I am a content creator, albeit on a much, much smaller scale than she is.
Yeah.
But I respect that hustle because fuck it, people only see what the camera points at.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't matter how shit your fucking setup is, as long as people like you look great, which is obviously what the article's about.
Yeah, totally. And it is that thing of every now and then I re-manage my cables, but I can't do any of the things where I'm putting them all in, like the cable management tubes and stuff.
Because you move stuff around too much.
Because like the second monitor they use for streaming is the monitor Jenna uses for work, so it like bounces between two rooms. Like my consoles, I don't have an extra console for in here. I move them back and forth, and like there's constant HDMI switching, like plugs changing.
But even at that case, it's like even if you had like a second spare console, you're still gonna be switching cables between all the consoles. Unless you got like one of those HDMI splitters which is like
and stuff
more
like that.
Cables.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things of, well, okay, for my sanity, every now and then I go in and just make sure they're a bit less tangled up and stuff. But it is a pain in the ass. Like, if you're constantly changing what your setup is, cable management is a nightmare.
It is, yeah, and it's like I try to keep everything as like neat and tidy as possible. I specifically bought a desk for actual officers. Do you know those where you can tuck everything down the back?
Yeah.
And like my tower lives behind the desk, and it's pushed against the wall, so everything is hidden. But the problem is, every time I want to fucking plug a HDMI thing into it, I've got to like crawl all the way underneath, like I'm giving my desk a prostate exam. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, mine's a bit weird because like I have not the deepest of desks, so my lighting and stuff just goes behind it. So my office desk is like not against a wall. It's actually, my desk is like a few foot away from the wall, and I've got like a couple of lights behind it, and then the cables behind it and stuff. But it feels really weird to be sitting in the middle of a room, not at the edge of a room.
And folks at home will probably hear. Hopefully they won't, because obviously you do some stuff to fix the sound. But your audio is better than my audio because you are sat in the middle of a room, which is one of the better things you can do for soundproofing. You've got carpet. You've got a bigger room with like more just soft furnishings in it and stuff like that. Whereas I've got a smaller room, which is like bare concrete, pretty much everything. I've covered as much as I can with soundproofing. I keep a sound triangle around my microphone, but I still get that small amount of echo.
Well, yeah, if you're sitting right next to a wall, obviously the reverb is going to be a lot easier to hear.
Yeah, and there's only so much stuff you can do to alleviate that. And that can bring us on to, I think, as of this week, the videos going up on the channel, the main channel, Fact Feed, are the ones recorded in my house. Well, they're the ones recorded in my house before I got that secondary green screen.
Right, yeah.
And like the audio is like a little bit worse, but the visuals are what people seem to have taken issue with.
Oh, okay.
I think, did you see this, Lucas? Did you see the advice?
Oh, right.
Air quotes I've been getting. Do you want to set the scene for that then? Because obviously you've edited one of those videos now. You know what.
No, I haven't.
Have you not edited one yet?
No, I've not. I'm scared of it.
Did you see the clip? Did you see what like the setup is?
Yeah, so I've watched like the video that went live on Monday.
Yeah. So what's the setup then?
So the setup is like Karl with basically a piece of paper next to him that says like the green screen. And then you have like the green screen, the physical office green screen edited into that, don't you?
I think we do, yes.
And then there was like the fake green screen around Karl.
Yeah, it's all just a big joke, and that all like be getting phased out very quickly.
Yeah.
But something that we talk about in the video is like when I brought all that stuff home, I'm one person. I can only get as much. I can only carry so much.
Yeah, of
But
course.
when I was moving my setup to my house, I had to make a choice, and I could only bring one light with me because it's their big fucking production size lights.
Yeah, they are
And
big ass lights. Yeah,
they're also very, very sensitive. So they've got giant, huge light bulbs in them that are incredibly fragile.
and that
And I
was
don't
one of
want to
the
break it.
scariest things when I moved house was moving those lights because I've got some as well,
Hmm.
as well as like the little ring light I use. But them light bulbs, just even in like the polystyrene and stuff, I was terrified of just it being in a box and the movers just like throwing the box or something, and then it just got shattered glass everywhere. God.
Yeah, just katonk, and it's all gone.
Yeah.
And so I've got one of those lights, and I did the best I could with the space I have available.
Yeah.
And at the end of the video, we talk about it, and Nisha, who has a degree in film and visual effects, is talking about like just the trials and tribulations of trying to edit footage where you don't have like perfect, or even just I think what's the word I'm thinking of now? Not perfect, but just acceptable
Yeah,
quality.
yeah.
Like not even good, just like
Like just a reasonable level of quality.
like you because we have one light pointing at me and that creates a shadow, which we talk about and I showcase and I like move around to show the shadows there. There's not really much we can do about it.
Yeah.
We didn't stop, I want to say, at least a dozen people sending me advice on how to remove that shadow, including people who gave the advice of the thing Nisha tells me to do in the video.
Because I can almost guarantee that what happened was they got a minute into that video. I'm like, well, I need to pause this video right now. And what I need to do is go and message Karl or tweet at Karl or whatever and be like, this is how you solve this problem. They didn't get to the end when the conversation already occurred where it's like, we know how to fix it. It's just fucking hard.
Yeah.
Like, you are literally filming in your flat. It's not as if you just have an office waiting to use in a perfect setup.
Yeah, and I've done my best to create the best setup possible. I went back to the office. I walked all the way back and I got that second light. And I moved around my entire fucking bedroom, as I mentioned in the video. But the amount of people... My favorite one was, why don't you take your mattress and press it up against the wall to use as soundproofing? It's like, because I want to fucking sleep on it. Why don't I just literally uproot my entire life to create content?
Oh, God. And it's just bizarre that people don't seem to realize this is not an ideal situation. This was not...
That was the ideal. That's what I was thinking of, like, and the ideal setup.
And it's like, look, compromises have to be made because...
They do, yeah.
This is just what's going on at the moment.
But yeah, I was talking to my girlfriend about it. I was like, what's the word for someone giving you smug, condescending advice that is obvious, but they treat like it's sage wisdom that you should thank them for bestowing upon you? And before I'd even finished talking, she went mansplaining.
Yeah, yeah.
And I went, yes, it is. This is the first time I've ever properly experienced it. This is infuriating. I would hate to be a woman.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah.
Because that's like the first time I've ever had someone do that to me. And it's like, wow, this happens to women all the time. How do they not just stab men?
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing is, you're getting explained to it like by people on the internet who go, oh, look, like they've clearly got some kind of problem here. Like it's something we know how to solve. But yeah, they see that and go, I can fix that. But what happens a lot of the time, unfortunately, with women is just, oh, because they're a woman, they must not know.
Yeah.
Like, there's just assumptions. Poor assumptions.
And I've said many times before that I think something that would genuinely make me scream, like just in frustration, would be the thing I see happen to female comedians all the time, which is men explaining their own jokes to them.
God. I think I'd
in
punch
response
someone
to the joke. Yeah, I would just quit social media at that point, and I don't know how women deal with it. Because I had just like the briefest taste of that, and I was infuriated. I was so mad.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, I was like, why are people this fucking stupid? We say in the video, why are they telling me what I already know? Mansplaining.
Yep. And God, it's terrible. People do not do it. And every now and then in my life, I have had the intention to try and be helpful and had to stop myself at mid-paragraph knowing, oh no, I'm delving into that territory. Like, I'm going to just stop myself.
Yeah, and the one like that it always springs to mind for me, and it's because it comes up periodically, and it's a person I follow on Twitter, I think still, and I've known since my crack days, like tangentially, like it's just
Yes.
always been in the peripheral of like my online like day-to-day dealings. Like we like I think like joined the site around the same time, and anyway, they wrote an article in which they make the joke. They describe Avatar as an original story, and they follow that up with a descriptor so charitable we can write that off on our taxes. So what's the joke there, Lucas? Like very simply.
I mean, just like we all know that it's not a fucking original story, but
No,
fuck it.
It's and to this day, she wrote that article like 5 years ago. She still periodically gets messages and emails from people telling her that Avatar is a rip-off of Dances with Wolves. And that she's an idiot to call it an original story, meaning they read that line, did not read the follow-up line, which is the joke that explains it, and then sent them an email.
And I just find that really funny with Avatar because I watched it and went, oh, that's just a rip-off of Pocahontas. And then someone turned around to me and went, no, Pocahontas is actually ripping off something else.
Of Dances with
Wolves.
I was
like, oh, right, okay. But I love it. And we see it all the time where we'll, again, go back to that whole pausing the video and getting comments. And it's like, you pause videos on like YouTube or whatever, people will make comments in real time and then either like keep it up, delete it, or make an edit. 30 seconds later you actually clarify this or correct yourself or whatever. Or there's fact bars that people don't pay attention to and then go straight to the comments. And
we've talked about that before. We had a fact bar talking about something that Brad discovered during research, and he was getting people sending in messages. Did you know this? He's like, I fucking do, because I put a fact bar on. Oh, sorry, I missed that. So you're giving us shit for not knowing this fact or overlooking this fact while you yourself overlook the fact we talked about it. You can't win, can you? You can't win.
No. And unless you say the words, maybe you can put it in a fact bar, people always fucking ignore the fact bars.
Even then, people still do.
Yeah, a lot of the time they do, yeah.
But we've gone a little bit off course because there is something I wanted to bring up. Because you pulled out your little iPod.
Yes, I did.
I'm wondering, like, you own a lot of tech, right? You've got a lot of gadgets in your house, like a lot of like, just like retro.
Yeah, I mean, people can literally see like down here. I've got like an N64, PS1, and Master System 2, just like and like a GameCube and stuff like that.
Same for me. You can see a bunch of like old gaming stuff in my background. So I'm going to ask you right now, what do you think is the most durable and hard-wearing piece of tech that you own?
Ooh.
Like, what amongst your collection do you think has stood the test of time the best? Not necessarily like is the best like overall.
Yeah.
What do you think is like stood like your stress testing?
I mean,
I think like
it is hard to top stress testing that iPod that got hit by a fucking car. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so there's probably some stuff that's going to be of like more hard wearing for other people. But what did you use the most, and it still to this day functions as intended? Because you've got a whole bunch of stuff on that shelf, and I was wondering, like, what
I do, yeah. But generally speaking, I have a lot of issues with most of my consoles. Like, the Master System and the Nintendo, just a lot of the time, like the cartridges is constantly like in and out and in and out and in and out before they work. And then I remember one time we were like playing Mario Party on my N64, and it got like nudged by a foot, and that was it. Like, it just boom, game over. And Mario Party, like, you can't save your turns or anything. It was like a 50-turn game, 2 hours of drunk investment, and someone nudged it with their foot, and it was like, ugh.
It's like when you accidentally delete all your tabs in it, and you just go, I'm free.
I am like a 4-tab man, Carl. I don't go past that.
I never have more than that, no.
But yeah, and then like the PlayStation 1 even, like the disc spinner has fallen out and has been reattached with a tiny bit of blue tack so it can still spin.
Everybody had that, yeah. My PlayStation 1 only works when it's upside down. I don't know why. I don't know why that's a thing, but it only works when it's upside down.
So yeah, honestly, like, I would say most of my technology has not been durable, other than the notes that I made earlier of like the iPod and the 3310. The last time I checked a couple of years ago, when I found a correct charger, like, it did work.
And it probably still has 2 bars of battery on it. Just a fucking Nokia. You know, I'm gonna have a quick look at my shelf. Let's have a look.
Yeah, have you got anything that notably stands out?
I think my PS2 Slim.
Oh yeah,
My PlayStation 2
that
Slim.
is...
I have had that for probably a good 10, 15 years now.
Yes.
It has gone, but it has changed hands many times because my brother had it, and then I took it from like my dad's house, and like he was moving, and then I took it, and then my brother got annoyed because it had all his old PS2 games on it, so I bought him another PS2 for his birthday, so I could keep that one. And it still works because I think that's the console I pull out of storage, like, you know, pull it out of retirement the most.
Yeah.
Like, every just like couple of months, I'm like, I really want to play that Burnout.
And
Or something
Carl,
like
is
that.
it not great that on PlayStation 5 you can just put that disc in the PS5 and it went, oh wait.
Yeah.
Oh wait, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd say that one because it's probably a good decade old, and it has had not constant but near constant use for an entire decade, and it still works fine.
Well, I'm sure probably more than a decade because like the PS2 would be about 20 years old this year.
Which the PS2 Slim.
Yeah, which will be a few years later, but definitely more than a decade. And yeah, as far as I'm aware, like my PS2 Slim still works. And goddamn, that might be the only console that earns the name fucking Slim.
Yeah.
That is a small console.
It's great as well. I fucking love the PS2 Slim. I think I contend it's one of the best consoles ever because I remember putting it in my pocket. I used to be able to put it in my pocket and take it around to my mate's house.
I'm sure it's not much bigger than like a Switch. So if you've got some big pockets, yeah.
It's not much bigger than the actual dual case for a PS2 game.
Yeah.
Which is what we used to do. So I used to have like a coat and my inside pocket, put my PS2 here, like the game there.
Yeah.
It was creating like Burnout or something like that, and then some controllers in my, you know, my jogger pockets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Done.
And that's always the good thing about like jackets and stuff. And I loved when the last time I had an excuse to leave a house with a suit on. It hasn't been a while, but I had the Switch and could just go like Switch in the case and go and just put it in my jacket pocket.
It does feel slick though when you do that. So I like when I wear like my suit jacket. And it's like the iPhone, like, I've got it's fucking massive, but it's like this big. But when you drop it and you feel like it's really satisfying, like ka-tunk.
Yeah.
You feel it resting against your chest there. It's like, the radiation directly into my nip.
Oh god. And
I fucking love it.
I always loved the Game Boy Advance SP for that. Like you just like clip it and just yeah.
It just feels so satisfying.
That has such a satisfying. Like we did it, didn't we, on another one of like
we did the ASMR,
the ASMR tech, and just the satisfaction of closing a Game Boy Advance SP is just.
I don't think anything in technology gets close to that. I think the only thing that's ever rivaled how satisfying it is to like close a Game Boy SP is pushing in a cartridge into a SNES and then hitting it. just to feel that snap as it goes in.
Yeah, when you put it halfway and then you go yeah.
And then you just feel that click. That one, or pressing the PlayStation 1 when it's still running, and you press it open, then you hear that. It powers down.
Have I ever mentioned that I played like half of Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro without the disc?
Yeah, because you used to be able to take the game out of the console.
Yeah, because it would load up like whatever area, I presume. And I guess how it worked was it would then not need to read the disc again until like it would load a new area.
There's some
some smarter people than us can probably explain it, but
it was fucking magic as a kid.
It was.
And I used to try it with all different games, like take the disc out and see if it still played. I'm like, oh my god! And I used to think, if I just leave it on forever, I get this game for free. And then it never worked like that because obviously
no, it doesn't.
It would need like to read the disc again and then it crash.
Yeah, because what happened with me was just my friend came around with the game and went, "Let's play this," and we did. And then he just when he had to leave, like the mum got to the door and was like, "Oh, come down now." He just quick grabbed the disc, pressed the open button, took it. I was just like, "This is still playing. Like, I don't know what's going on. I guess I'll just keep playing till it stops working." And
it's like that episode of Friends, isn't it, where they get free porn and they're scared to turn the TV off. They never want to turn it off because they don't want to lose it.
And it's weird, isn't it? Because if that happened to me now, obviously responsibilities aside, if I had like a free day to myself and some crap like that happened, I know I would just scrap all non-essential plans and be, I'm going to test this out. I'm going to push this as far as it can go.
There was a guy in chat who said something that, if true, is fucking incredible. It says the original Ridge Racer was designed specifically so you could do that, so that you could put your own music CD in and listen to your own music while going around and doing time trials and stuff. If so, that's fucking incredible.
If that is true, yeah, that is legendary.
Because I know that the PS1 worked as a CD player, and that all PlayStation 1 discs were, or most of them, doubled as CD players. And if you put them into a CD player, you just play the soundtrack. Because I remember doing that with Tony Hawk's.
Oh, right, yeah.
Listen to the Tony Hawk's soundtrack.
Because I think if you go into the files of PS1 games, they are essentially set up so it just, that layer is exactly as a CD is. Like, in the files, it's set up, this is a CD, this is the game, and it just pulls the CD into the game, basically.
Yeah. But I remember doing that with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, and just putting them into my CD player when I had one of those, and just listening to the soundtrack, and feeling like an absolute bot. I stole it. I felt like I'd stolen it.
Yeah.
I thought I'd like some magic had happened. Do you know one of those things like, oh, I wonder what happens to put like a PS1 game in it, and like music started playing. I'm like, what?
It's like, oh god. And I found it really weird experiencing playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 HD on, played it on the PS5 just because the PS5's there, not the PS4, but the PS4 version because there's no next gen one. And I was like, oh, okay, well, there's a lot of this soundtrack here, but I also have a really good affinity for like the soundtrack of 3 and 4. And instead of playing the music from the game, I turned the music all the way down and then just put Spotify on and was like, I'll just put Spotify through my PS5 and play a Tony Hawk's playlist. And I was like, this is an even better way to experience the soundtrack.
Because, like, you know what? Spotify's not going to take the songs away from you with a patch, like fucking video games do. Like, do you remember when Grand Theft Auto got patched after 10 years of being released because they ran out, the music licenses ran out, and it just removed it removed like 150 songs.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they released a patch 10 years after release that just took songs out of the game. So the only thing the patch did was remove content you'd paid for because the licenses ran out.
That's rough.
So people like download unpatched versions to get the full versions.
Can you imagine if that turned around and happened to like Rock Band? And it's like, oh yeah, Rock Band 4 is 10 years old, and to celebrate the anniversary, 70% of the games are gone. It's like...
I'm like genuinely surprised that's not happened. So they must have some fucking cast iron agreements in place to host that music, because
it's bizarre because Rock Band specifically, not Guitar Hero, because I can play my like Rock Band 1 songs on Rock Band 4 because I've imported them in, and the fact that content is still allowed to be used. The only ones they have a problem with are like the Beatles one. Because
that's from a specific game, it's the fucking Beatles. And
then, but the Green Day one works. Like the Green Day one.
Beatles, what was it now? Someone bought their entire back catalogue or something like that.
Yeah, there's always a real bunch of bad licensing issues with Beatles songs, and I'm surprised that game ever even existed in the first place.
Yeah, but that's one of those games though where when the dark times end, we are 100%.
Yeah.
100% getting all that equipment, bringing it to the office, and just having an entire day of streaming Rock Band with drinks.
I mean, I don't know if I can bring the drums, A, because of size, but B, because all you'd be able to hear on stream would be like... and it'd just be like, okay, yeah.
That's all people can
hear. And it's just like, well, can you like remove the drums? Because I can't hear what anyone's saying. It's like, okay.
No, just go sit in the hallway, it's fine. Just go sit there, it's fine.
Oh god, but yeah, like 1,000% what I want to do in my life is just get people round and just play Rock Band again.
That's why we've got the office, man. It's fully soundproofed.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Also, there's going to be no fucker at it anymore because there's no one in the office.
Oh god, yeah, I can't imagine how few businesses are going to still be there at the office.
When I have to go renegotiate my contract, it's going to be real fucking easy to get a bigger office. I'm going to be able to get a much bigger office for the same price, I guarantee you that.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's true, actually. And the office is already pretty big for what we need it for.
Yeah, but it can always be bigger.
It can be. Can
Yeah,
always be a bigger Big Wangers Inc.
that's the one, yeah, because it's even written on the fucking door.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Every time someone walks past my office or when they walk past it and they look and they see him go, I just look at them and go, it's fucking too right, it's Big Wangers. Because that happened to me today.
Oh, really?
I can reveal this because it's a tentative thing at the moment. There's nothing set in stone just yet, but I have started looking at property.
Oh, okay.
Hippity hoppity looking at property because yeah, fuck it, I want to buy a house and or creative space.
I mean, fuck it, why not?
Why not? And you know what? It's never going to be cheaper than it is now.
Yeah.
Because every fucking office is like closing,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no one in them, so they're just all selling up. So I've been looking at a few places in Sheffield, and I went to one today, and it's like
nice.
it's basically an empty building.
Yeah.
And I could buy the entire building for the cost it would be to get a 1-bedroom or studio apartment.
Fucking hell.
So for the cost it would be for me to buy a studio apartment in Sheffield, I could go get basically an entire building, turn it into a studio, and then build a flat above the studio.
Jesus.
And then rent it out to myself.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing. But when I was talking to the guy, so he called me up. It's like, oh, did you register interest in the office on blah, blah, blah street? I'm like, yeah. And just to clarify, the business name is Big Wangers Incorporated. I went, yes, it is. And your name is Carl Small. I went, yes, it is. Yeah, we thought it was a joke, but we saw that in the description when you put like what's any extra information, you put it's not a joke. I mean, it's not. I take my business very seriously. Thank you for considering me.
And that's the thing, is when you actually spell it out, like it does sound like a joke.
It does, but the fact the guy took it seriously, it's like it's my fucking business.
Yeah. And
I bet as well they don't care because my money's as good as anyone else's.
Mm-hmm.
But the frustrating thing for me is when I was like talking to the guy, I'm like going around with a mask on and all that shit, looking at the place.
Yeah.
I'm looking around and I went, so any other people viewing this? And he went, yeah, there's a couple. And I went, how many of them are just business developers who are going to turn it into like 6 different flats? And he went, I can't tell you who they are, but I think that's what they're going to do. And I'm like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that I am able to get a space somewhere in Sheffield because I'd feel so fucking bad if it's just bought out by a soulless giant corporation that's going to split it into 6 tiny rooms and then rent them all out for an extortionate price.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen with 80% of free office spaces at this point.
Yeah, they're just going to get converted to shitty flats.
Yeah.
And students going to get shoved inside of them. But I'm really hoping that I can pull this off and just end up with like a nice big like creative space.
That would be baller, yeah.
That's the idea. But yeah, just the fact I looked at it when I can buy an entire fucking building for less than I can get a studio flat for.
And it's very frustrating because I remember like when I was looking for a flat in town like a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
like, Jenna and I were looking to move but stay in the city centre because like that's where we were working and stuff. And it was infuriating because not only were most of the flats either, student friendly, which means a bunch of dickheads live there, or students only. And then we looked and it was like, oh, but there's like 10 new places that are all giant blocks of flats all being built and opening soon. Oh, all of them are the same, they're all students only. And it's like,
yeah,
holy shit, you can not really find anything in Liverpool anyway that was just not, this is going to be students.
Yeah, and it's like, just I'm paying rent on an office and on a house.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to bore people with the details, but the way my accountants explained it to me is if you buy the office with like, the big wangers money, you could then rent it out to yourself.
Yeah.
Which is something I'm apparently allowed, and people are allowed to do legally. And that's how you get stories of business CEOs paying themselves to like lease their own company cars and things like that.
Right, yeah.
And they'll buy a car with a company and then lease it from themselves.
And then it's essentially just, oh yeah, I'm paying rent, but what are you doing? Well, I'm paying it back to my own business, which is then essentially paying myself.
Which is something I'm allowed to do, but that's in the very, very early stages at the moment, but I'm really, really hoping I can pull it off.
Well, hopefully something like that works out. If it's not that specific place, then, somewhere else.
Just so I can have like Big Wangers HQ.
And
just just walk up to an entire building and just go, I start and go, yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Wangers. I own this shit. I run. Like, I've wanted to do, and we wanted to do it for fucking ages. I keep forgetting it, because it's been snowing recently, and that's been the perfect time to pull it off. is stand bollock naked looking out my window with a cup of coffee and just scream, I run this city out the window. I just always wanted to do that.
Oh, God. Fair enough. And maybe one day, Carl, you'll remember and you'll be able to tell us on the podcast when it happens.
Just screaming out the window, I run this city.
But make sure you tell us after you've done it and not beforehand, so there's not people like trying to find out where your window is and take pictures.
Oh, fucking... mate, I got a message today. Did you see Twitter?
I've
Did you
been
see like...
casually on Twitter over the day.
So I'm just going to like just... Actually, I don't need it because it's like, 3 messages. But
okay.
while I was working earlier, I checked my phone. I've got a missed call from my mum. I've got a missed video call from my mum. I've got a missed WhatsApp call from my mum. And then several messages and just one saying, call me now. Like,
oh, God.
Call mum. Mum, what's going on? She's like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Sorry, I was working. I'm thinking like my brother got COVID like 2 fucking weeks ago. Like, he's fine, thank God. But like, I was like, oh God, he's taking a turn for the worse, something like that. Is something wrong with my sister? Is everything all right at home? She's like, no, I got a message. So what do you mean you got a message? Yeah, I got a message just saying Karl is in bed. I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah. I didn't know who it was from. I thought it was like one of your friends that you'd fallen ill. I thought you were like ill, and they just got my number from you, and just, like you're ill. And I've been calling this person, they won't answer, and I don't know what's going on. And she just got a couple of messages, like just saying, like, "Is Karl okay?"
What the hell?
Asking after a Karl, but Karl is specifically spelled with a K, and that's what freaked my mum out. She thought if it was the wrong number, or like just a mistype or something like that, why would it be Karl with a K? Because that's not exactly a common spelling.
Yeah.
It's really weird that she's been sent that.
Yeah.
Especially as well when my mum watches all my content and knows that I get like a lot of weirdos trying to track me down and find out where I live and things like that. And then my mother gets a message from an unknown number that refuses to answer her back, asking after me.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh no, I'm so sorry, Mum, please.
So do you know, like...
We don't know now. I checked all my contact information. She sent me the number. And I don't want to call it.
No,
I fucking call it, and then I've got my number. Then I have to get my fucking phone.
Well, that's a bit unsettling.
That was a bit disconcerting because you mentioned like not staring out the window, because that's something that's happened with the videos. They're being recorded in front of a blank, featureless concrete wall, which many people are commenting on. Of like, that looks really depressing. It's like, it fucking is. Because that's to remove all features that are identifiable from the wall, and I had to find a section of concrete with absolutely nothing on it. Like, not even like a bit of conduit. Because normally there's like artwork. That's why I got the place. Cause it's just like blank wall, a literal blank canvas I can do whatever I want with. Initially covered with posters and photos of family and friends and a couple of pictures and then some artwork that I've got done, which you can like see like behind me now.
Yeah.
Can't have any of that on the wall because obviously pictures of my fucking family and friends are in there. I don't want people zooming in and seeing my mates.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh wow, this looks really depressing. It's like, it fucking is, because I'm.
Yeah, and again, that comes down to it's not ideal, but it is really funny that people have the balls to turn around and go, "Oh, you've moved your operation to your fucking like bedroom, so that you can still keep making free content for people," and they have the audacity to be like, "Oh, your wall looks shit." It's like, great, it looks shit because I'm doing this for you, you fuckers.
It looked great before I had to take everything off it.
Yeah.
And then I've got, again, the really unhelpful suggestions of, why don't you paint the wall? It's like, because then I've got to, like, remove the paint.
Because if it's a concrete wall, you can't stop renting it and just be like, well, there's paint on it now.
Yeah, it's industrial chic, I think it's called.
Yeah.
I think the word is like they didn't want to fucking wallpaper it, but I like it because it meant that I can just stick shit to the wall and it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I can just hammer nails into it and all that bollocks, which is what I did.
And that's the thing, is you can attach things, like the amount of places I've had to be where it's like, well, you can't put blue tack on there because it'll mark the paint.
Yeah.
And I've had to spend loads of money on like command strips, which safely normally come off without making a mark. And to be fair, that does work, but it's a hell of a lot more expensive than a bit of fucking blue tack.
It's also as well, you can't like put a pin nail in the wall. Like,
no, you can't. No.
You have to do some polyfiller. It's like my wall. It's like, fuck it, who cares?
And I will say, if anyone listening is long-term renting and people are like, we can't put like a pin in the wall, honestly, just do it. Because either you'll be in a place where there's loads of unidentifiable like holes in the wall anyway from when previous people have done it,
Mhm.
or just get a tiny little bit of polyfiller and they'll never notice. Like the amount of times I've had people tell me that, it's like, oh, whatever. It's like
Also,
so
as
easy
well,
to get away with it.
I would argue if you're long-term renting somewhere, just for your mental health, to have like pictures of your family and friends on the wall
Yeah.
is worth after 3 or 4 years. It's like, oh, I'm gonna have to charge you 50 quid for paint. It's like, fuck it. It was in a deposit that I couldn't touch anyway.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like we always do our best to make sure everything is like repaired and cleaned properly.
Yeah.
And no matter what, they will always say, "Well, the flat's not clean enough." And it's like we just spent like hours and hours and hours and like a whole day cleaning this flat. Like it's sparkling, is immaculate, and they go, "Yeah, but it's not to our standards." And because it's subjective, what are you meant to do? Like you can't argue it because they can just go, "Well, it's not clean to our standards," and it's
Yeah,
like,
I remember last time they did that
great.
for me. I just went, okay, I found a cleaning lady here. She'll pop round and do like a full clean down for 40 quid. Can you give me can you give me the keys back and I'll send her around? No, we don't trust her.
Yeah,
So you don't want to support a local businessman, or you don't want to support a local self-employed person, and they just immediately just go.
God.
Also, to the guy in chat, like, can you not choose a cloth or something? You are the exact fucking person we're talking about. You are not being helpful.
Yeah.
It's like, can you not just put a cloth on your wall? It's like, what cloth? It's not the people like, oh, why don't you put your mattress against the wall? Because I want to fucking sleep on it, knobhead.
Oh God. Yeah. And it's like at the end of the day, if that is just the deal breaker for you, and you want to turn that video off and start watching when you're back in an office, like that's up to you. You're allowed to do that. But the idea of then going in the comments and being like, "Well, Carl, can you just like go get giant sheet and put it on your wall for me, please?"
My favorite one is like, if you've got a suggestion that seems obvious to you, chances are we also got that suggestion. But you have to remember, we have to record.
Yeah.
Even though we are months ahead, we still have to record because you guys need content to edit. Otherwise, you
Mhm.
can't can send me an invoice.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So even though like we realistically could have taken a break while I got all my got the green screen again, because I
Mhm.
ordered another one and I've like duct taped it to my wall. We could have had like a gap in recording. That would have just put everyone on the back foot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
And
that shame. I like it. So just Mate Joe's in chat and he just said, I filled a hole with toothpaste and then painted over it. It didn't work. The trick is you've got to let the toothpaste dry. That does work. That's like a student bodge job fix.
yeah.
Where like, if you've got a scratch in a table or something like that, put toothpaste on it, smooth it out, and then let it dry because it dries like calc, like dry, and then you
Yeah. Yeah.
put like boot polish over it. It doesn't fix the problem, but it does cover it up long enough to get your deposit back.
I still remember the time that not like us, but somebody in another flat in our halls, like below us, they broke their coffee table just completely. Like someone fell through it; it was pieces, and they tried to argue that they could fix it. And it's like, no, no, we don't want you to buy another one because you're going to charge 500 quid. We'll just fix it. Not the people just like, how? You've just shattered this table. Like you've literally just suplexed some fucker through it. It's like you're not fixing that. Come on. Oh
So you
God.
just get go to IKEA and get one for 4 fucking quid.
Yeah,
It's
like they'll never know.
yeah, but no bodge job ever will top the guy I kind of knew who was telling about when he was fixing a house.
Hmm.
And like they went and they tore like a bit of they were taking wallpaper down and found out that instead of insulation, the previous tenants had filled the walls up with newspaper and bread. It's just that is so fucking next level, just money saving right there. Just stuffing the walls with bread. Like he basically lived inside a giant chicken Kiev. He was loving it. It's like, how do you like just like top that? It was incredible.
Oh God, you just fill it with Jaffa cakes, Carl. Fill the wall with Jaffa cakes.
I found the other day there's like, do they have Jaffa cakes now? But they have like strawberry Jaffa cakes.
I've tasted the pineapple ones they did. Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm just looking at that. I'm like, I've got a big box of them on my shelf. I'm like, I can't, because I know if I have one and I like it, I'm eating all 10. Because I used to get pissed off when you buy a box of Jaffa cakes. It's only 10 Jaffa cakes, but
Is
now
there
I
only
thank you
10
for
Jaffa
it.
cakes?
Only 10 Jaffa cakes in a
Fucking
box. But
hell.
that's a good thing, because I could fucking smash 10 Jaffa cakes, no problem. And I don't want to mess around with that.
I had a friend, and I'm not sure if it was like a mutual friend or not, that
Okay.
had one of those, like meter long Jaffa
Oh,
cake
God.
tubes. They were, I got through it in a day.
Yeah.
It's
How pissed off as well do you get when you see presents like that, like the meter long Jaffa cake? So it's like, oh yeah, it's like the Toblerone that's like a 3 foot long, and it's just 3 separate Toblerones in a bag.
Oh,
like, no, fuck you. Give
No.
me, if it's not a foot long.
Yeah, because I remember like Charlie sending us a picture of a giant
I
Toblerone
was about to
that
mention
was a giant Toblerone, and it was genuinely like 3 foot chunky as hell, just
Yeah.
like massive Toblerone. It's like, I
Yeah.
respect it.
A friend of ours bought a 3 kilo Toblerone, and he sent a picture of it, and it's like he's cradling a PS5. It's fucking massive. I've never seen anything so dense.
Oh god, it was amazing. And he
like-
sent us like a segment. It's like, this is what one segment is. It's like, "Da-da!"
What is though for you like the chocolate you've seen that's just the fucking densest? Because I think Toblerone's up there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you ever pulled Toblerone out of a freezer and just think I could kill someone with this? Or out of the fridge?
Yeah. Because like, I mean, not Toblerone anymore, to be fair. Like older Toblerone, when they didn't take that chunk out of the wedge. It's like,
Oh, do you see they got dunked on that so much? They were getting roasted for it so much they changed it.
Oh,
Yeah.
they put it back, but then made the bar smaller, didn't they?
Yeah, because too many people were roasting them for how shit it looked. Well, I think for me, like, it's got to be, it's surprisingly the chomp. No one
Really?
thinks that chomp is that, like, dangerous.
Mm.
You're looking, it's a fucking chomp, innit? But a mate of mine once got his head split open by a chomp. Because it was a
What?
chomp, like, because he used to keep his chomps in the freezer.
Yeah, I did that with like chomps and curly whirlies and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
And like he was sat on the sofa before a night out, and like I think one of our mutual friends was just grabbing a drink. And he went, "Oh, can you pass me a chomp out of the freezer?" And he frisbeed the chomp across the room, twatted him above the eye, and split his eye open
Fucking hell.
with a chomp.
Oh man, I got
That-
slapped with a frozen curly whirly once, but they're like really long and it just shattered.
That is rough.
Yeah, that was rough, but it wasn't as rough as getting my eye split open with a chomp.
Did I ever tell you about my mate who we called him Poo Eye for a year?
No,
'Cause,
like did
like,
they
he
get
had-
pink eye?
He got pink eye because we all took it in turns, farting on his pillow.
Oh no!
So, do you know those things you do when you're drunk?
Yeah.
Like, he was in the other room, like throwing up. We went, oh, we know what we'll get him. So we all farted on his pillow one at a time. But we didn't realize he wore contact lenses, and he kept his contact lenses in when he went to sleep.
Oh,
So the contact lenses must have got like the poo pustules or whatever. Kept them in his eye. He woke up the next day and had an eye infection, and he couldn't understand why. He thought it was his contact lenses.
Oh no!
And like, it was only after he went to the doctor where we went, no, it's because we all farted on your pillow, and just called him Poo Eye for a year.
Oh god, that's so mean.
It was so
Like you guys gave him pink eye and then took the piss.
It's one of those things you do, like when you're drunk and you don't think about it, and you think that was probably pretty mean, but it's very, very funny to think about, and he still gets free drinks off that story.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
Like every time we're all out together, like he will get a free drink when he tells that story, because we all feel so bad when he talks about how I had a date. I couldn't go on a date. I had to miss a week of work. You call me Poo Eye for a year.
That's a rough one, isn't it? When you've got to call up work or just like a date or something. I can't make it. Well, I kind of pink eye. It's like,
He just said he wasn't feeling very well.
But I know, like, if I called up work and went, I need a week off, they'd be like, wait, no, why the fuck do you want a week off?
I think though he just posted a photo on Facebook and everyone's like, yeah, you get a week off with that.
Yeah. Yeah,
But then he found out fucking Poo Eye.
Oh god, that's so bad.
But it's just one of those things. Just I will like always fondly remember just seeing him lie down on the pillow and just like he was so drunk. He's like, do you know the thing people do when they're drunk when they just like rub their face on it?
Oh
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
And then they flipped it over to get the cold side, and we're all just like,
Oh god, I still remember one time, and like this was in a pranky way before anyone makes any other insinuations. It wasn't like that. When we were about 14, We were on a school trip where we stayed over like for the weekend somewhere, and somebody broke into like our little dorm room that we had with like 10 people in it and put poppers on everyone's pillow. And everyone was like lying there at like 4 o'clock in the morning, like, I've got a real bad headache. I don't know what's going on. And we were all like 14, 15, didn't know what poppers were. And somebody had got access to them and just poured them over people's pillows. It's like, oh
that's
God.
rough. So I thought you meant like the little exploding snap things.
No, like the drug poppers, yeah.
The drugs. Oh my God, that's rough.
Yeah, so I believe they are like legal drugs, but yeah, it was just like done as a prank, and it was just a bad fucking prank.
Yeah, it's like Whippets, which I wouldn't recommend anyone do, but it's like I'm not sure if they still make it with it, but whipped cream in the can is made with nitrous oxide.
Ah, right.
If you breathe that in, you get like a very brief high. And I remember we told a mate of ours about this, and he did it and then passed out. Like, that we got really lightheaded, just fell backwards and whacked his head on the fridge.
Oh.
And then we just decided that's when I like, for me, drugs are bad.
Yeah,
I don't want to end up like dying because of whipped cream. That's not getting written on my fucking tombstone. I'm not having that.
Like, oh, fucking hell, how did Karl die? Well, he inhaled a bit of whipped cream and died.
Yeah,
it's like, great.
I still think, though, is there any just joy more pure and more forbidden than spraying whipped cream directly into your mouth?
Well, I don't like whipped cream.
But it does feel super fucking like forbidden, doesn't it?
I like watch Jenna do it when she makes like a hot chocolate or something, and she'll put like the whipped cream on there and just be like, ah. And I'm like, yeah, fair enough. If I liked whipped cream, that would be fucking amazing, yeah.
Like, there's no joy more forbidden than that.
And all I'm thinking, though, is like, I was like, oh, but what else kind of food product comes in a can like that I could have tried it with? The only thing I can think of is like that American spray on cheese, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, no, she's terrible.
I've never tried it, but I refuse to try cheese in a can.
Yeah, but what's one of those products then, or like food stuff that you get in the fridge that you will eat just on its own? Like, what is like you're guilty? Like, you'll go to the fridge and just get like a spoonful of it, even though you're not supposed to.
Well, people always have a go at me for just like eating ham slices on their own.
Oh, I can't do that.
I just walk into the fridge and I'm not making a sandwich or anything. Just walk in, just grab a couple of ham slices and be out. And people always are like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "It's just a bit of ham."
So I think I used to do that a lot with peanut butter when I was going to the gym.
Right, yeah.
So I just have like a jar of peanut butter in my fridge. It's like before I go to the gym, it's like banana, peanut butter, just like one giant spoonful of peanut butter, and then eat the banana, and then just down like half a pint of milk, and that's it.
Because that, I need some fucking calories quick. Just get the spoon and the peanut butter. Fucking go.
Oh man, it's like when I could go home for Christmas, my mum always has pork pies in.
Ooh.
And like, I fucking love pork pies, and I don't buy them because they're like calorie bombs.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah.
One mini pork pie is like 200 calories, and she'll buy like the pack of 20 mini pork pies. And I remember coming in drunk once and smashing 20 pork pies. I'm like, damn it, this is it. I can't.
Oh god, that is something I do. Is like when I'm drunk, I'll always go for like the crisps, which is fair enough, or the cheese strings. But I'll go through like a 12-pack of cheese strings and just be,
that's the one, yeah. So I still remember one of the stories. I don't know if it's Charlie will tell it, but it is. I think we were on a joint night out together.
Oh yeah.
It was like the night where I think either my girlfriend at the time had broken up with me, or we'd had an argument. And he just saw me going upstairs with a beer and 2 giant bags of Doritos. He's like, Karl, no! I just went upstairs and ate 2 bags of sad Doritos.
Sad God. Because I remember being told about that by him, and just like, yeah, Cole was just like, don't judge me if this is happening. Just
I've had a rough day.
Leave it. Don't say anything.
The sad Ritos, but this is before I was a lot bigger because I used to be really skinny.
Yeah.
But so this is like before I could like smash an entire pizza or whatever. But yeah, just remember this, waking up in the morning like the sad Ritos.
Oh god, and I've actually kind of reversed a little bit with pizza, where I love leaving like half at least of my pizza till the next day. Just being like, fuck it, let's order like the extra large pizza instead of a large. And instead of trying to eat as much as possible, make sure I save like half of my pizza. And just then I get 2 days of it.
I freaked my girlfriend out when I talked about when I used to go to the gym and I had to eat like 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day just to maintain.
Yeah.
Because I weighed like nearly a stone, 2 stones heavier than I do now.
Oh, okay.
I would not eat all day. I just have like my usual, just like a tin of tuna and a protein shake, so like 400 calories, and then a couple of beers. So I still need to get like another 3,000 calories in me before I went to sleep. And the order that me and her do, the joint order of like a pizza each and then a kebab for me,
Yeah.
and then like chips and wedges and all that stuff is what I'd order for myself. I would eat 2 pizzas, an entire kebab, like 3 portions of chips. And I scrolled down at my previous orders and went down to like last year, and you can see that I'd order it at like 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And just smash it all.
Oh god, I remember doing that a few times after like the Smash Bros streams and stuff.
Yeah, just absolutely annihilating like an entire fucking pizza.
Yeah, and just being like, back when we could stream it together from the office. Just go back to yours. Like, Carl, are there any takeaways open? It's like 4 a.m. It's like, yeah, I'll find somewhere.
And you can confirm that I would order and eat 2 pizzas.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, and just smash it all straight away. But I feel like we're getting a little long in the tooth for the recording now. So for the folks in my chat and then the folks in Lucas's chat, give it another 5-10 minutes and we'll do some Q&A. So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask for the end of the stream, you can ask them here. And if people in my chat, if you've got ! Lucas, you can go to Lucas's stream and ask there as well.
Yeah.
And like Lucas will pick a couple, I'll pick a couple, and we'll go through them. But we're just letting people know that's what's happening now. If you've got any questions, get them in a couple of minutes, then we'll go through them. But in the meantime, while that's happening, like, what is it that like you miss like the most about the nights out? Because I've had this conversation. I think Charlie, he's mentioned that he really, really wants to go on a night out.
Yes, yeah.
So, what specific part of the night out is it that you miss? Because I think for me, like, while you have a think, like the one for me, it's not when you go on the night out. It's that brief period before people get to your house. Okay. And it is when you're just getting ready and you've got that first drink.
So, like, you're talking about when, like, you're blasting a bit of music, getting ready. You've got that one drink on the go that you're, like, walking around the flat. Yeah.
You're walking around your flat with, like, you're getting changed. You put in, like, you've had a shower, you've done your hair. Yeah. Like, you're putting stuff on, then just before people arrive, you have that one drink that's in your fridge. And it's just, that is the start of the night. It's like, that's the bit I think I miss the most, like the anticipation for it.
Yeah, and I think in a similar vein, I miss, like, the pre-gaming before, like, this is more of like a uni thing, but we do it occasionally when we're on a night out still. When, a bit older, of like, make sure you get like 10 people in your flat. You're all playing like fucking Ring of Fire or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And all just like blaring some music, making sure you're getting drunk together, like having a laugh. And it's like a couple of hours of that before you then go out to the club.
Yeah, because there's a friend of mine and he is like, just the guy who hosts all the house parties.
Right, yeah.
And like he's the guy, it's like he's so mad that we've not been able to do anything for like a year because we've missed like his birthday, because we'd always hold like birthdays in that part of the country. So when I go back home to see like that, there'd be a bunch of birthdays around the same time, so we'd like do like 3 or 4 nights out over the course of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it'd just be like, just everyone gets back together. It's like, I think they're the times I have to see people that I know and have known for like 10 years, but I'd only see them like once per year at that party.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's like a yearly thing where like just everybody from college gets back together. And as we've grown up, obviously, we're still doing the same thing.
Yeah. And
it's just one of those things where I've really missed that. It's like, because we'd just be like basically 3 or 4 hours of just catching up with people I've not seen in a good while.
Yeah, like we did that for New Year's for quite a lot of years.
Yeah.
Not specifically me, but like my friend group, and we'd all meet up for New Year's and like go to a house party, and I do really miss that. Not specifically because of COVID, that's just kind of stopped happening as people have grown up and moved across the country and stuff like that. Yeah. And just it all gets a little bit harder, and you get a bit more responsible, and it's a shame in moments like that when you're like, kind of wish I was just like a stupid jobless 18-year-old again.
But that's why I missed that one, because that was the party that everyone would go out of their way to go to.
Yeah.
It's like we can't always all go on a night out, but people would make an effort to go to that one. Like, people would come down from fucking Scotland because we've got friends who are literally the other end of the country.
Yeah.
And they would come down for it. So it's like my
That's
only
good.
real chance to see them.
Yeah,
But I'm going
that's
to quickly
nice.
take a bathroom break, or, you know, like Q&A, while chat collates the Q&A.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So I want to take a quick break. So you're going to edit this out for, presumably, the audio podcast?
For the audio, yes.
The video one, fuck you, you've just got a few seconds of dead air.
I guess I'm just going to sit here and have a little bit of a drink. So yeah, I'll just wait for Carl to come back, and I'm not going to do any Q&A or anything like that in the interim, because, again, this will be cut out of the audio version, so I'm just going to ramble for a little bit while Carl goes to the toilet and I just try and fill a bit of dead air for you. But yeah, if you do have any questions, like, please don't hesitate, and just try to not keep them, try to make sure they're not really depressing, I guess, because we're, you know, trying to keep a decent mood. We do call this a comedy podcast. But yeah, and if anyone has noticed, like, I've got this massive fucking water jug, and I would recommend it. So there's like 2.2 litres, and I noticed when I was sitting in the office all day, I'm just not drinking. I have like the one glass sitting there. I'd drink that, and then it'd be hours before I'd leave the room again. So this is a really handy little helper. And I wasn't trying to show off the brand or anything. Like, if I did, that was not intentional. Just going by a big fucking water jug. Oh, and Carl's back.
There we go, and his back is this lad.
And can you just do me a favour and clap on your end?
Okay, yeah, sure. So I'm sorry for the video watchers, but perfect.
Yeah.
And speaking of, like, you know, the pre-gaming, I went to my fridge and I got a can of coffee because I know we're, like, you know, we're streaming later.
We are, yeah.
The question is, are you going to have a drink on the stream?
Yeah, why not?
In which case, I might go get a drink instead once. I was making a choice. It was like coffee or drink.
Oh, God. And it's one of those things that, fuck it, it's a Wednesday night and we're streaming, but it's like, it's lockdown. Like, whenever anyone asks you that question, it's lockdown. It's
I was thinking,
what else have I got to do?
Yeah, I was looking at my fridge and I went, well, the shop near me is doing these little cans of coffee, but they're 50p. So I bought 20 of them and my fridge is full. I've also got this Bulmers, so I'm going to open the cider with the coffee. Just fuck it. Oh God, no, that can's not great.
Oh God.
The moment I got hands on that can,
it starts like denting and crumpling. It's like,
it's going to crumple and the coffee's going to pop out.
There we go. There we go. That might be the first time in a long time I've seen you open a bottle with a bottle opener.
Yeah, it's fair.
And not the wrong side of a bottle opener either.
I thought I'd just do it with this, but I felt like the can crumple instantly. So
yeah, I know what those type of cans are like, and they will just crumple immediately. There's a reason, like, people can shotgun through them.
Yeah.
And by, you know, what I mean is, like, you know, putting the key in there and that
so
kind of shotgun. Not a physical shotgun.
Yeah, but just for the people watching the video version, because these are the same cans as Red Bulls, you can stick it to your hand. So I used to do at the bar, is stick it to my hand and pour like that. Anyway, so let's go for the Q&A. Lucas, you got any on your end? Do you want to start with?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, go for it.
So, someone asks in chat, what's your favourite game or experience from, like, the PlayStation 2, Xbox, GameCube era?
Best experience, probably going to have to be, like, just playing Tekken with others.
That's fair, yeah.
We'd have like Tekken nights and just play Tekken till like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Those ones, or potentially like after I left school and stuff like that, and then I'd start playing, you know, getting that nostalgia for the PlayStation again. Playing through Final Fantasy X is like a yearly tradition to play through it.
Yes.
Like once a year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably that one for me. How about yourself?
For me, I would say, like, favorite game from back then is definitely a different question, like probably Wind Waker maybe, but in terms of experience, it's like years and years later when we all met up to just play drunken double dash, and it was like the one lap baby road with insane items,
Oh man, Lucas, can you, for folks at home, explain the rules of Beerio Kart?
Oh, Beerio
Double
Kart
dash.
is
Beerio
great.
Kart double dash is incredible. Explain
Um,
these rules.
so Beerio Kart is essentially just you have a drink and you pour it into a glass so that everyone's got a same
Same
kind
amount.
of amount to drink. And basically, the rule is you have to drink all of your drink before you finish the race in Mario Kart. And the only other stipulation, I believe, is just you can't be driving and drinking at the same time.
You can't drink and drive now, so it becomes then a tactic of people will try and down theirs on the start line,
Yeah.
and then some people will get to the finish line and then down it at the finish line. Other people will drive, get items, like go ahead, get the items,
Mm.
knock someone off, and then drink while they're doing it. And then if you do it with double dash, where you can switch seats,
Yeah.
the person in the back can drink. So you
Yes.
have to keep, but when you switch, you have to physically switch places with the other person. It's like, oh, it's great.
Like, if
Such
you've
a
got
laugh.
the room to do it where you can switch places with people, that's when it's the best.
Yeah,
Because
it
that's
is
when the
fucking
chaos
incredible.
ensues.
And it's just one of those things. It's a great way to, like, break the ice and just get people. Because no one needs to be good at Mario Kart to have fun doing that. And if anything, it's better if you've got people with a mix of abilities and skills
Yeah,
in
and
regards to the game.
when you're playing like Mario Kart Double Dash and you can set it to Baby Park, which is a roughly 10-second lap, and you
Yeah,
can put it on one lap, so it's a 10-second race, and you obviously do smaller drinks because
yeah.
it's a 10-second race. But yeah, you get one lap to get like one item box, down your drink, and try to win, and it's
It is just
incredible.
the killing field, as it were. So we got a pretty good question. We've got one in my chat here. You're pretty open about how important it is for you to treat your employees. Does this come from previous bad work experiences, or is it part of your upbringing, overall personality? It's a combination of both.
Yeah.
I've worked in good places. I've worked in bad places. It's mostly the good places that have made me want to just be nice to
Mhm.
people that I work for. Like in regards to online work, my very first break was cracked.com,
Mm.
and they paid above the average for all work for that freelancer submitted, regardless of skill or ability.
Yeah.
So me, as an 18-year-old who'd never been published anywhere else online, was earning the same as a frequent contributor because I was doing the same amount of work and I was getting, like, the same prestige from having an article published with them.
Mhm.
And that basically got me started, or just put me on a really good path to, like, knowing what my worth was and what the worth of online work in general was.
Yeah.
And then just years of knowing that I'd been underpaid for
Mhm.
work that I'd done made me realize if I ever get in a situation or I'm in a position to pay people or have people who work with or for me, I don't want to take advantage of them.
Yeah, fair enough. And like in terms of pay discrepancy, that's one thing that really got to me over the course of working at different restaurants. Because I remember like one of the first restaurants I worked at was Pizza Hut, and I was 21 at the time, so a 21-year-old wage in the UK. And I
Yeah.
can't remember exactly what it was at the time. But I also worked with a guy that was like 16 years old,
And he was earning a 16-year-old wage.
and he was earning a 16-year-old wage for doing the same thing, and he was earning less than half the money I was per hour for the exact same job. And then I gradually went through a couple of other restaurants and a couple of other jobs and ended up at Nando's, which pays every single person, regardless of age, the living wage of a
Yeah.
25-year-old. And I was like, I really respect that. I always point that out, like, fair play to them, because most companies abuse the fuck out of like 16-year-olds and constantly just hire them until, like, they basically burn out after a year or two and just like fire them for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
really
like, if
shitty.
just because you have the option or ability to pay someone less than their worth doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, like, it's so demoralizing to come in and go, oh, okay, well, have you got more experience than me? Well, no. Okay, you're doing the same job as me? Well, yeah. Okay, and you're earning twice my wage because you're a few years older. It's like, yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
that just pissed me off the moment I learned that is a thing that companies could do. I was like, that's fucking shocking.
And then when you ask them about it, he goes, well, that's the wage. He goes, well, you can fucking fix it, can't you? 'Cause you're the one who hired them.
You're the one like making the choice to pay that wage and also put people on fucking 0-hour contracts and shit like that.
Yeah. And it's the same with online, where I have had way too many articles published for shitty websites that paid me very little or nothing at all, or like, the promise of exposure or eventual payment, and it's like, I hate it.
Yeah.
And I never want to be in that situation again, because all it did is, thankfully not for me, because I knew what my value was worth and I knew that I could go and get paid for certain places. It made me eventually realize I can say no to jobs like that.
Mm-hmm.
But places like that exist to prey on people's just lack of experience, knowledge, or the fact they've not got confidence in themselves yet.
Yeah, and I remember plenty of times when you would turn around and just be like, well, this one's only paying me like $10, but fuck it, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I'm writing a bunch of them, but it'd be like, well, okay, but how does that compare to what Cracked pay you and stuff?
Like, you know for a fact that I used to sit there before a night out and write an article that paid me $10.
Yeah.
I'd write like 2 or 3 of them over the course of the evening before we went out,
Mm-hmm.
and then use that $30 that I got paid to pay for our nights out.
Yeah.
And that's how I got so fucking good at what I did. I was literally writing 3 or 4 articles every day, per day,
Right,
like 2-3 years straight, just to live. Oh god, that's not a bad one. Anything from your chat, Lucas? Any more questions? Remember, folks at home, ! Lucas, you can find him.
Yeah. So another person says, although COVID sucks, has there been any positives about lockdown for you personally? No. And obviously, my one is quite an easy one. Of the past year, I have started working like full time with you, and creating content online. So I don't think like lockdown is the reason for that, but it has happened during lockdown, and it probably accelerated it.
Yeah, it forced your hand, as it were, because you literally and physically could not go into your like real world job.
Yeah, I was on like furlough pay for a couple of months and had nothing else to do other than to work with Karl.
Yeah, and it gave you that I guess glimpse into like, oh wow, this is not a stable career option. Like, the internet's not a stable career option, but at least the internet continues to exist in this COVID world.
Yeah, and
for me, there's no real positive in regards to like what COVID's done. Like, my life would be markedly better if it wasn't a thing, which is why I'm so adamant and strict in adhering to all the rules and things like that. And it's why I get so mad when they're ignored, and when people give us shit for doing things like wear masks or telling people maybe wear a mask so you don't fucking kill someone's mom.
Yeah, that's always the horrible thing, is like, I know that I'm sticking to these rules, but it's people going, well, oh, you don't need to leave the house and blah blah blah. It's like, no, I don't. I'm still gonna remind people when you do to fucking do it, because you might be killing someone else.
As I said, my brother fucking got it.
Yeah.
And like, he got paid 50 fucking quid sick pay. He got 50 quid and he had to take 2 weeks off work, and he's got a family to support.
Yeah. And people still want like full rent paid and shit.
It's ridiculous. And it's why COVID, it's not done any positives. And I really don't like the idea of, oh yeah, but it's taught us to like, appreciate the little things. Like, you can appreciate the little things whilst also not living through a pandemic that's ravaging the globe and killing people.
Yeah.
Please stop romanticizing something that's actively making people's lives worse.
God. Yeah. Anything from your end?
Yep, go on here. When you were freelance, did you usually pick the topic for an article or that you were given, or did you? Oh wait. When you were freelance, did you usually pick the topic for an article, or were you given the topics to research? Right, it was both. I sent cold submissions to a lot of websites. I had standing arrangements with other websites where they knew my style, they knew the consistency of my work, and they knew I could be trusted to provide articles of a specific quality and in a timely fashion. So I had deals with those basically to write what I wanted within reason or within a set amount of parameters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
That's what you have to do when you freelance.
Yeah.
Like, freelance means you have to fucking work for your money. And I did. And I wrote a broad range of subjects. And I think at the last count, the total amount of articles I'd written in numbers in the thousands.
Fucking hell.
In grand totality. Like, even if you just count like published articles for the bigger websites that helped me like establish myself online,
mm-hmm.
there are easily 2,000 or so. So there's 700 fact fiend articles. There's 600 today I found out articles. There's 300 on top 10s. There's like another 300 on Listverse.
Yeah.
Like 50 so on Cracks. It's fucking yeah.
No.
There's like so many. But that's how you like get the experience.
It is, yeah, and I don't think most people have written quite so many articles, but I know a lot of the time it is a mixture of like just what I've heard through either you or other people I know, or looking for writing jobs myself when I was younger. And it was like sometimes it's, look, we need like a news writer who can get sent a press kit and whack out an article straight away.
Which is what I used to do as well.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a case of, oh, look, you can email us and you can pitch an article idea for something creative. So yeah, it's a bit of a mix.
Either way, they don't pay well enough for any of those to pay the bills with one. Because I think it's known as like the Carrie Bradshaw problem. It's probably something else now, but it's like Sex in the City. Carrie Bradshaw wrote one article in one newspaper per week and afforded a downtown luxury penthouse on that. It's like, you're not fucking doing that as a writer. Unless you, like, even Agatha Christie, one of the most famous celebrated authors of all time, had to write a book every year to pay the rent.
God.
She wrote a book, like, she only wrote one book per year, but she still wrote a fucking book every year.
Well, yeah, and obviously a book is a lot more fruitful than writing articles, because you...
Oh, it can be, yeah.
Well, yeah, if you're successful at, writing books and being a published author, it's probably more lucrative than having a weekly column in a newspaper.
Yeah, but it's that thing of like no one is writing for a living is supporting themselves off one gig, and if they are, they're probably not happy about it because it's not a good idea to put all your eggs in one basket, as it were.
It's rough, yeah, and it's that weird thing of, especially physical written media is obviously being read less and less, like newspapers are being bought less and stuff, but even like online articles are often, like, a lot of written websites are just going down the drain because of things like YouTube.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Right, that's the one. So anyone from your, Lucas? We can call this last one.
Yeah, it's something I'd like to hear from you, maybe, of just someone says, so you lads seem fairly confident. Any tips to help folks who are in the less confident spectrum? Some say it's about not caring about what other people think, but what's the difference between not caring and apathy? Hard to summon up that big dick energy at times.
Okay, this one we get asked a lot, isn't it?
It is, yes. Yeah.
And it's difficult to tell someone. It's like the equivalent of when someone's upset. It's like, well, don't be.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not confident. It's like, what do I do? Be confident.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and my answer is the way I did it is like fake it.
Yeah.
I used to do stand up. I used to do improv comedy, and that always helped. I was never a confident person. I used to have a stutter, in fact, but doing that allowed me to pretend to be somebody else, even if that other person I pretended to be was an elevated version of my own personality.
Yes, yeah.
And something that I would do on nights out and things like that is when I was like, getting the confidence to go like talk to a girl or something, for example. It would be just treat it like I'm on stage.
Right, yeah.
And pretend that I'm not doing it for me, and like just removing myself from that situation, and like removing some, like, I guess not feelings, but the fear from it.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird that we probably both have similar ins in that scenario then, because I was extremely shy and unconfident, and still, every now and then have moments where I question myself and stuff. Obviously, like, it does happen to all of us, but yeah, I started going to like a youth theatre when I was in high school, and that helped me a lot. And just generally trying your best, even in public, to act confident. And I think when I went to university, I was very much like, oh, cool, like, I'm starting fresh with brand new set of people. Like, no one in this different city knows who I am. So if I am acting differently, they're never going to know. Whereas, like, if I started acting differently around a group of friends that I'd had for 7 years, you start getting a bit afraid, like, are they going to call you out on bullshit and stuff? But I just kind of tried my best and expended a lot of energy at first to do so, to just be confident, and just try to amp myself up. And I still started realizing like all these things that I was scared about, no one gives a fuck.
Yeah, and it's that thing as well. Don't try too hard, because that, more than
Yes, yeah.
anything, it can either come across as desperate, which people don't like, or arrogant, which people also don't like.
Hmm.
Like, and the way you're a great example of this, where you've got like bright colored hair, as people watching the video can tell.
Yeah.
Like you have bright colored hair, but you've never, in all the time I've ever known you, ever made a big deal out of it.
No,
Ever.
no, no.
Like, that's just like part of your personality, and
Yeah.
that contrasts very starkly to people that I've known who've done stuff like that, and they'll walk like a friend of mine recently dyed his hair, and the
Yes.
first thing he did when we all were like on a Zoom call is, "Yeah, I've dyed it. It's not a big deal." It's like the fact you've made a big deal out of it
Yeah.
shows that you're not confident. If you just like come on the call and you've got it,
Cool.
yeah, it's the same thing with like someone who wears like a pink shirt.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, and they'll say, "Oh, I'm wearing pink. What of it?" It's like, well, no, you've made a big deal out of it.
Either that or the one, the opposite way around. Like, because I've got dyed hair, I often get people who've just dyed the hair coming up being like, "Yeah, but what do you think of my hair? What do you think of it?" And it's like that pushing on people of like, "Well, I'm clearly insecure because I'm running up to people and asking them what they think."
Yeah.
And it's like that. Then again, we've talked about it. People always say like, "How do you always suit every hair color you pick?" And it's like, because I don't care. Like, I just it's the confidence that sells it. And
Yeah,
then
it's
when you
clothes.
run around asking people like, "Do I suit something?" It's like, well, that's making it seem like you're not confident, and therefore no.
Yeah, it's like clothes. Of like, oh, people say, oh man, I wish I had the confidence to like wear, I don't know, a suit or something like that. So well, get one and wear it. If you
Mhm.
like it, you will feel good inside of it. It's only if you're self conscious about it though, you won't stand. And you won't present yourself in a confident way, which then, like alienate people or make them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
And it's really difficult to tell someone this because like the basic answer is like you kind of have to just pretend until you're not pretending anymore.
and try stuff like, because I would say like a lot of the time when I tried dyeing my hair for the first time and I wasn't sure about it, the moment I then saw myself with dyed hair, I went, no, this feels right, this feels good, like I enjoy this. And it's like that in turn then made me feel a bit more confident about it.
And it is just you got to fake it till you make it, and
Yeah.
also at the same time, just one of the most difficult things, I guess, would be to cut out people who don't like exude positive energy.
Yeah, and that's just a general rule of thumb in life of do your absolute best to just cut out negative people. And even if it is a case of like a lot of the thing I did is like, I'm not a confrontational person, I don't like confrontation. And when people cared about Facebook more and like I was a bit younger and everybody's fucking lives revolved around social media, is instead of like removing people off Facebook and doing that whole like thing people do of I'm gonna delete people and blah blah blah, I'm gonna be aggressive about it. All I would do is if I see a negative like person on there, I'd just be like unfollow their feed. I don't want to ever see them again. They never need to know that I've unfollowed them or that I've deleted them or whatever. Just get that out of my vision because
Yeah, it's
I
the
don't
same
want
thing.
the negativity.
Like in real life as well. Just like say for example, like you want to try a new look or try like a new teeth, and someone makes fun of you for it, and it's not in that like jokey friend way.
Yeah.
Like they're doing it like just to hurt you, basically.
Mhm.
Just make a mental note not to talk to that person anymore
Yeah.
because you don't need that in your life.
And sure, occasionally, if it's like a friend of a friend, you might have to interact with them, but don't go out your way anymore to talk to that person.
Yeah, because you don't need it in your life. Because
No,
all they're doing is dragging you down.
exactly, yeah.
And why would you like willingly want to hang out with someone who does that to you? Why would you want to hang out with somebody who makes you feel worse?
Yeah, I have like over the years just tried my very best to surround myself with supportive people, and it helps massively.
It does, yeah. And I know that I say this when I exist online. It's like the most negative area in the world.
Hmm.
And I I don't seek it out, but it seeks me out.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
The answer to that is I am very confident in myself
Mm,
because I have built up a career and a life for myself.
yeah,
And like I will, like, it's that thing of like I know in myself that anyone making fun of me, I'm proud of what I've done.
Mhm.
And that's something that's like good for building confidence. Is just find something you're proud of, find something you're good at, or that you think that you enjoy doing, and just do it.
Yeah,
And you'll
definitely.
always have something like, even if it's something as silly as like, just I don't know, going to the gym, exercising.
Mhm.
You're proud of like, not arrogant, but like, proud of something that you have or you've built. That really does help.
It does, and I would like again jump off the back of that of don't let something you're like not confident about get in the way, because I constantly bring up the fact that I hate my own voice, and I for years and years stopped me trying to make video content,
Mhm.
audio content in general, just because every time I had to edit my own voice, I would listen back and go like, oh, it
I,
really gets to me, and it still does to this day. But I've just gotten to that point where it's like, I accept that I dislike my voice, but I'm not gonna let it stop me being happy anymore.
yeah, though it's one of those things for me. Like people will notice if they watch any content I do. I constantly like, play with my hair
Yeah.
because I have never, ever in my life ever had a good hair day. For me, I've never once looked in the mirror and gone, my hair looks okay.
Yeah, fair.
But something I noticed is that when I looked at other people,
Hmm.
I would just like make a mental note to look at other people, like their hair looks good, their hair looks good. And I noticed that 99.99% of people I ever walk past went, their hair looks all right. I realized they probably have the same thing as me, where they think something's out of place, but I'm not noticing it. I
Yeah.
thought, put shoe on the other foot. Any little issues I'm noticing on things that I don't like, chances are no one fucking notices.
Yeah, probably not.
But I'll
And
still
I
do
get the
it. But
same thing as well of, oh, I'll notice like, oh, my beard's looking a little bit wonky today, and I'm getting really like conscious about it on stream and like trying to fix it. But I know that nobody's gone on and gone like, oh, like Luke's beard looks wonky. Like, what the
and the
fuck?
thing is, anyone who would, why would you give a shit anyway? Because those people are just negative and fuck it. You don't need that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's great.
it
And I
is.
think we can end on that. Just like, you know what? Just cut negative energy out of your life to the best of your abilities and find something that you like doing.
Yes, it's the best way to live.
Just be positive.